am gonna I'm going to get started because I don't have a lot of time. So hey everyone, um, you must have read what we are going to do by the title. So I have of course this is inspired by Robert Welch. He came up with this idea first, and I am also a huge fan of Bailey Sarian, but I don't have that amount of research in me. So I'm just going to read some ghost stories, and I'm going to do my makeup, and I hope you like it. So let's get started with the first one. Okay, so the first one is called The New Old House. We bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into the master bedroom, for instance, while I am on the wallpaper removal duty. For the previous owners papered every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal but oddly satisfying. The best feeling is getting a long peel similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn. I don't know about you, but I kinda make a game of peeling, on the hunt for the longest piece before it rips. Under a corner section of paper in every room is a person's name and date. Curiosity got the best of me one night when I googled one of the names and discovered the person was actually a missing person. The missing date matching the date under the wallpaper. The next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was up for a missing person with the dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out the crime scene team. I overheard one tech say, "Yup, it's human." Human? What's human? Okay. Ma'am, where is the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you were removing. Okay. That's creepy. That's all I want to say about it. The second one is called I Hate When My Brother Charlie Has to Go Away. I hate when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to complain to me how sick he is, that I'm lucky for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations like undammed rivers. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine, considering he's confined to a dark room in an institution. I always beg for them to give me one last chance. Of course, they did at first. Charlie has been back home several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time, without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats with gouged out eyes showing up in his toy chest. My dad's razors found dropped on the baby slide in the park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced by bits of dishwasher tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, makes it easy for him to fake normalcy and to trick the doctors who care for him into thinking he's ready for rehabilitation. Rehabilitation. That I will just have to put up with my boredom if it means staying safe from him. I hate it when Charlie has to go away. It makes me have to pretend to be good until he's back. I didn't expect that. That was unexpected. Did you get it? At first I was like, wow, this is like the movie Often, and I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Girl, get your shit together. The next one is called Seeing Red, and in the bracket it says the first day of school. Seeing Red, the first day of school. Every year, new classes, new friends. It's a day of full potential and hope. Before all the dreamy depressions of reality show up to ruin all the fun. I like the first day of school for a different reason though. You see, I have a sort of power. When I look at people, I can sense sort of aura around them. a colored outline based on how long that person has to live. Most everyone I meet around my age is surrounded by a solid green hue, which means they have plenty of time left. A fair amount of them have a yellow orangish tinge to their auras, which tend to mean a car crash or some other tragedy. Anything that takes people before their time, as they say. The real fun is when the auras venture into red end of the spectrum. Every now and then I'll see someone who's basically a walking stoplight. Those are the ones who get murdered or kill themselves. It's such a rush to see them and know their time is numbered. With that in mind, I always get to class very early so I can scout out my classmates' fates. The first kid who walked in was basically radiating red. I chuckled to myself, too damn bad, bro. But as people kept walking in, they all had the same intense glow. I finally caught a glimpse of my rose tinted reflection on the window, but I was too stunned to move. Our professor stepped in and locked the door, his aura a sickening shade of green. Eh, I didn't understand that one. I didn't. What? Does that mean that she's dead? Oh, does that mean that the professor's gonna like kill everyone? Or am I just making assumptions at this point? I am confusion. The next one is called There's No Reason to Be Afraid. When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghosts. Isn't that always the favorite thing? We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up and on each of our nightstands, we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the house's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch that chair forward across the room towards us. She sounds very casual, and that's my problem. Sometimes she'd manage to move it all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She'd murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she'd hanged herself. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room with the woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was the wooden chair placed exactly in the center of the room. My eyes are watering. Okay. Creepy, very creepy. This is why you don't just go. The accident. It was 1 a.m. and Guy Howson? Halverson. Halverson? Okay, figure it out. It was 1 a.m. and Guy Howson sat in his dark living room. He hadn't moved for over an hour. The accident earlier that evening kept playing over and over in his mind. The light turned red, but he was in a hurry and accelerated. An orange blur came from his right, and in a split second there was a violent jolt. Then the bicyclist rolled across his hood and fell out of sight on the pavement. Horns blared angrily and he panicked. stepping on the gas and screeching away from the chaos into the darkness, shaken and keeping an eye on his rearview mirror until he got home. Why did you run, you idiot? He'd never committed a crime before this and punished himself by imagining years in jail, his career gone, his family gone, his future gone. Why not just go to the police right now? You can afford to have a lawyer. Then someone tapped on the front door and his world suddenly crumbled away from beneath him. They found me. There was nothing he could do but answer it. Running would only make matters worse. His body trembling, he got up, went to the door and opened it. A police officer stood under the porch light. "Mr. Hobson?" asked the grim officer. He let out a defeated sign. "Yes, let me. I am terribly sorry, but I am afraid I have some bad news. Your son's bike was struck by a hit and run driver this evening. He died at the scene. I'm very sorry for your loss." It was supposed to be a ghost story, but instead it's a sad story. The second last one is called Hands. The doctor pulled the stethoscope ear tips out and hung the device around his neck. "Mr. Weatherby, all of your tests have come back negative and my examination shows nothing abnormal." Adam knew what was coming next. "I'm not crazy, doctor. I'm sorry, but there's no physical reason for why you occasionally lose control of your hands. A psychologist can help. I don't need therapy, I need answers. They seem to have a life all their own. I can't hold a job. I'm under investigation for assault. I almost killed my neighbor. This can't go on. I'll try anything at this point." After 2 weeks on a new medication, Adam saw no progress and grew increasingly depressed. He was convinced that despite what the doctors said, it was not a psychological problem. That night, a frustrated and angry Adam sat in a chair and drank bourbon. Drunk and hopeless, he stumbled to a garage and started the table saw, then slowly lowered his wrist towards the screaming blade. Detective Armstrong entered the garage where several uniformed officers stood over the blood-soaked body. "So what do we got?" he asked, taking in the blood-spattered scene. "This is a weird one, Detective." "How so?" "Take a look at the body. He apparently chopped off his hands with the table saw and bled to death." Armstrong knelt down. And we can't find his hands anywhere." The last one. The happiest day of my life. I watched as my soon-to-be father-in-law held his daughter's hands as he walked down the aisle. Tears streamed down his face as the wedding march that played in the background reminded him that, in a few minutes, he would be watching me hold his daughter's hand and slipping on her ring. He walked up to the altar and I took hold of her hand, grinning from ear to ear. It was the happiest day of my life. My bride's father got down on his knees and started begging, "Please, I did what you asked. Just please give my daughter back." I glared at him. "Shut up and stop ruining the moment. You sit back down and enjoy the ceremony. Maybe I'll tell you where I've hidden the rest of her body." That was not as expected, to say the least. This is the completed look. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the stories. And thanks for watching. I'm very late. Hit the like, subscribe. If you want me to do more of these, send them to me. I might insert like a email at the bottom of the description box. So send them to me and yeah, have a nice day.